brand development, tracking, and brand personality. So every marketeer understands the importance of brand development and brand tracking. In fact, CMOs get compensated on how well the brand does, how many people know about the brand, how well they talk about the brand all around the planet. We talk so much about brand personality and brand tracking, and everyone says, oh my God, my brand is a person with a defined personality. And if you go ask people, well, could you characterize the personality of your brand? They would say, well, it's sophisticated, it is rugged, it is elite, it is luxurious, a variety of verbs and adjectives that people use to describe a brand. However, if you go to a psychologist and you say, hey, is there a way of defining and talking about personality in an acceptable manner? They would say, yes, there are many ways of doing that, and there's one such test called the Big Five personality test. The Big Five personality test is wonderful because it has huge validity longitudinally, huge validity globally, and huge validity across time, that it does remain constant. And it has tremendous application in the world of understanding people, psychology, etc., people's behavior, consumer behavior, etc. However, no one has really talked about taking elements of the Big Five personality test and asking, can we map our brand into the personality traits of the Big Five? They have longitudinal validity, grounded in human understanding. If a brand is a person, then naturally we must be able to map the personality of that brand with a normalized, wonderful test such as the Big Five personality test. So in the book we lay out how one would start thinking about that. That if you literally started mapping a brand into the personality test, is it possible that you could reverse engineer and start to infer the personality of those that are your brand loyalists? Is it possible that you could infer the personality of those that are not your brand loyalists? Find out where we fail and find out how through better messaging you could perhaps attract them. So I think understanding a brand through the lens of the Big Five is a very big step in machine understanding and machine tracking and artificial intelligence based understanding and tracking of a brand. It is not asking 10 million people, did you talk about this brand? Did you hear about this brand? That's one way of doing brand tracking. But understanding the personality of the brand and therefore figuring out how it travels, how well it is remembered, enables a constructive way to address any misses of brand tracking. If your brand suddenly takes a dip and another brand is surging ahead, and you wonder to yourself, is it the simplistic reason of more marketing expense tagged along my competitor? Or perhaps that brand appears from a Big Five lens different to my consumer than we do. Or have new consumers with very different personality traits suddenly started tracking that brand. So knowing the Big Five also enables us to figure out the kind of metaphors that we want to use in talking to brand loyalists and those that are not. Once you understand the personality of the brand, you suddenly start to map the messages of the brand. That is to say, if you know a person was a certain kind, do you expect the Pope to swear? Well, you probably don't. Do you expect a rapper to quote scripture? Well, maybe you don't, right? So when we understand the personality of a brand, we are able to effectively map the quality of messaging associated with the brand and determine its level of credibility. Does it make sense? Can I see it coming out of my mouth? So what we propose is using the Big Five personality test in understanding brands, tracking brands, developing metaphors pertaining to the brand, mapping metaphors associated with the brand so they resonate with the personalities of consumers purchasing the brand, inferring the personalities of people who support your brand, and finally, figuring out the mapping between the messaging associated with a brand and its inherent personality.